Welcome back to another episode of Buzzworthy Business. I'm Steve Strum. With me in the studio, John Visser, our wonderful co-host, and from studio parts up north. John, how are you today, sir?
It's windy up here, but other than that, I am doing really, really great, and it's good to be on the show.
Well, you know, I would make a joke that Cory and I would appreciate here. We're going to introduce our guests in just a minute about being cold in Florida, but you probably would be laughing at this moment because you do not have to shovel rain, sir. And so it's balmy 40, 50 degrees outside. It was in the 30s today, and I think the entire world freaked out. So, but we're not here to talk about you and I, because you and I talk all the time. We're here to talk a little bit about Cory St. Etienne, I think I got that right, Rusty Cochran, on two sides of the small business economic scale. We've got Cory with Wealth Haven Financial and Insurance Group, and then we've got Rusty, who's We Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air. So two small business owners, two opposite ends of the spectrum, but they both are consistent with economic change of life. John, what do you got for us about Cory?
Cory, how did you decide to get into the financial business and do financial planning?
Well, John, back in 2005, I've always had a heart for helping people, basically. I grew up in a family that helped people. My mother RN, my dad worked for NASA after the military, and we've always had a heart for helping people, whether it was through church organizations and so forth. And while I didn't have a heart for healthcare, I wanted to go into the financial arena to help people economically. So that's kind of what put me on that path. And then in 2005, I was offered a chance to do that with Waddell & Reed, which afforded me to get my investment license, Series 6. And then I went on after Katrina, after losing everything in that, Hurricane Katrina, I went to Florida and furthered my career from there. But I've always, like I said, I've always been a people person, and I've always had a heart to help people, whether it be charity work or volunteering my time. But recently it's been helping people with their financial struggles to get them from point A where they are to point B where they want to be financially. So I've been using various tools to do that, and especially with the launch of my agency.
And Cory,
So,
as a guy in this industry, outside of being a TV show guy, I live in your world. You know, the stocks, bonds, mutual funds, investments, insurance. Congratulations on starting your agency, because that is, you know, it might have been 10 years ago, but wow, that is what a great jump. You know, and I think change, right? Change is a big thing that we have to deal with in economic circumstances. We're going to talk a little bit about Rusty on some of the changes that he's seeing in the home services industry, but you know, especially over the last 5 years from COVID, right? A lot of changes in the financial services industry. We've got, without being a political commentary, we've got a very large regime change happening. We have some tax code stuff. Just the way that money moves has changed. What are you telling your clients about how you're supposed to change, knowing how fast things are moving in your world?
Well, that's why I tell them to have a solid game plan in place, financial plan, so that no matter what the environment is, they can stay the course to reach their goals. And that takes financial planning. It takes having someone that can hold their hand and help them navigate the situation, whether it be regime change, as you put it, or new president policies, whatever it may be. There's always ways to handle every situation, and a solid game plan, financial plan, as it's called, helps them stay the course and helps them navigate that. And during COVID, a lot of people weren't able to work, they struggled, but through it all, it's always helpful to have something to stay the course, something that they can focus on and make adjustments regarding their overall financial situations. And we work with people no matter what the situation is.
Well, it's a very interesting segue, right? So that tees us right into Rusty. So Rusty, coming at us from Southern California, plumbing, heating, air. You're in SoCal. I'm in Florida. Cory's in Florida. John doesn't need air conditioning because he gets summertime about 5 minutes a year. But one of the things that we were talking about a little in show prep, about your business, right, is also the change. Now you're in Southern California. There's a lot of legislation that's happening that's changing from fossil fuels to electric type of solutions. Tell us a little bit about your business and what are some of the things that you're doing with regards to change with your customers that you're seeing in your day in, day out universe.
So right now, there's the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed. They still haven't figured it all out on how those rebates are going to get funded, but it's to take a fossil fuel system and turn it into electric. So as we navigate through that, we'll know more and more as the coming months, really, and people can get big rebates back to shift away from that natural gas. All new construction homes are there's no more gas in those homes anymore, so they're all electric already, and then they have to have so many solar panels provided by the builder when they're building the house. So we just have to make sure that we're staying on top of it and being on the forefront of it. We don't want to be left behind. So it's constantly, staying in touch with the rebates.
Well,
and the laws.
And the laws, minor detail, right?
Yeah.
The rebate's good. Laws keep you out of jail.
Not so
right,
good.
Corey, tell me. I know you know about that. But
hear
I
you.
completed 20 hours of continuing education this weekend, so I know everything about the darn compliance stuff, man. I know it's great.
Yeah, I hate you guys as well.
So, Rusty, you talk a lot about change management, right? You talk a lot about making sure you're staying on top of the law. So the Inflation Reduction Act, for the people that don't know what that means, can you tell us what that means to the average consumer?
Well, I can only speak on our world, which means that they're giving rebates to basically change. They're giving you incentives. They're incentivizing you to change from a gas, whether it be a water heater or a gas furnace, and turning it into electric so we can get off of fossil fuels. So it can be clean energy, basically, is what the Inflation Reduction Act in our world means.
And I guess as we are kind of winding this interview down, John, did I miss anything?
No, I think
we
you
covered
covered everything.
Change, laws and compliance.
Laws,
Coming from the
everything,
AC guy,
yes.
not from the financial guy. We got laws and compliance coming from Rusty. So Cory, you need to step it up, bud. For Cory, for yourself, sir. As a final takeaway, if there's something that somebody's watching, whether it's a client, a prospect, a potential client or prospect of yours, what's that one thing that you think is that piece you want to leave them with in regards to your value proposition in your business, sir?
That's a good question. I would tell them to seek out a very licensed, trustworthy financial advisor and then get a game plan in place that they can use to improve their overall situation, whether they're business owners or a regular everyday person. It's always good to have one in place. And there's a lot of companies that do it for free, just like my agency. There's lots of companies that you don't have to pay money to get a financial plan in place or to seek out licensed professional help in the financial world. There's a lot of people, a lot of resources there that can help people.
I went a different direction with licensed professional help in the financial services sector, as in professional, I need a counselor. But to your right, but it's not that too dissimilar, right? It's pretty close. And then Rusty, for yourself, sir, for your clients, potential clients that are trying to scratch their head, I didn't even realize that new houses don't even have gas in California. That's fascinating. I'm like, oh, geez. I guess we are living in the future. What would be the thing that you would want your customers, as we are kind of in this change management, environment, to know about your firm and what value you can add to the table for them selecting somebody for plumbing, heating, and air?
Well, the big thing for a customer to, when they're looking for that HVAC or plumbing, company is, make sure they're licensed and bonded, insured. That way you're covered as far as that goes. Check the reviews, and then what are you looking for? So, there's so much available on the internet that you can research companies. They know before we get there who we are. So, the main thing is just, are you comfortable with that company? Are they pulling permits? Are they doing all the legal compliance stuff that they're required to do? And a lot of them aren't.
Right.
There's a study that showed 92% of the people aren't pulling permits. So, we pull we're 8% of the population that's pulling it. I don't know about in every state, but ours. And so do your research on that customer, on that contractor, to make sure that they are doing all those things right and offering solutions for your home.
I could go on and on and on because, on both sides of the coin, right? The home services and the professional financial services universe.
Right.
We could just go. There's so many different ways. We could probably talk for a half hour, but I don't know if I'd want to listen to myself talk for a half hour, let alone you guys put you through that punishment. But what we'll do is we'll make sure to hang your website information on our website, which is thedailynewsnetwork.com. That way, Cory, for yourself, sir, they could go check out where your value prop differential is, and then, Rusty, I'm gonna Google you later just because I'm just fascinated that there's so many changes that I didn't even think about that are happening to the homeowner in 2024 and beyond. And then John, without you, bud, we can't do this. It does not work without the linchpin. So thank you for putting all these fine, wonderful people together to talk about how our world is going to be changing and how we can change together.
Yeah, more changes to come.
Pleasure, and thank you,
gentlemen.
And thank you guys for joining us.
Absolutely, with all around the table. Thank you for coming in. Without you guys, we have no show. Without people watching us, we have no show. So, for the folks that are watching this, if you like us, share us. Thank you so much for joining us on Buzzworthy Business. And remember, live with gratitude.